Good morning, everyone. It's Evelyn, and I have my two reads for you today. I have the Union read, 4D, 5D, 6D, and the Twin Flame read of the Now Moment. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings to everyone. The more and more I put out purifying energies in my day-to-day, the more I see the less and less dark there actually is, that it's really getting clear. I'm going to show you the pictures of the reads first, so don't forget to do that. This is the 4D, 5D, 6D read. This is the SIRIAN Starseed deck, for those of you not familiar. And my setup here is the 4D on the bottom row, 5D and 6D, the incoming Divine Feminine, the outgoing Divine Masculine over here. The vertical is the feminine on the left, the masculine on the right, and the bridge between in the middle. This is the underlying energy, and then the closing energy over here. And then we have the Twin Flame read here, again the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And this is the complete read in front of you. Clear it up just a little more. Okay. Okay. For some reason I was being guided to show, I'm drinking my decaf with my milk. For those of you who may be interested, I am vegetarian, but I'm not vegan. And Frosty is on my mug, and this is a message for somebody today. Okay, so we have this Union read first. The Union read was done yesterday afternoon at 5:07, which is the Hierophant and the Chariot. And the underlying energy was the Strength card. The central energy in that read was the Shadow. And then the final card was the Four of Wands, which is the Union card, right? So we have the Aries Ram through the Ring of Fire, which I talked about yesterday, into the Shadow Web, and then home again, not changing their stripes. Okay, so maybe the color changed, but not their stripes, not who they are at the core. The incoming Divine Feminine being the Star, the Six of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles, which is in the SIRIAN Starseed deck for me, is the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower. The Rock Star Healer, the Sophia, the Sirius, walking like an Egyptian, lost in space, looking for directions in all directions of the time-space continuum, which way to travel, or to roam. Go back to where you started from. The journey of one leading three, and then 4 and 5 came, and love became a battlefield. The Divine Feminine's heart answering the call at the E-Tower, the Divine Masculine at a distance, or in the field aligning with crystals, and the number 7. 52/7, which is the Queen of Swords. The Sirius B lovers of expanding and contracting and reaping rewards. The 4D of the Ace of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. The Divine Feminine with the Ace of Wands, ignited, inspired, and the Divine Masculine with the Queen of Swords, with her handle on the truth, a mosaic statue, a 3D puzzle, put together to get to the 4D. Bridging. And again, so the pieces of the puzzle of the Queen of Swords, it's like all the coherent pieces coming back together, but they're still in puzzle form, right? They're not fully integrated. With the Queen of Cups in luxury by the falls, or Hawaii after catching the chalice that had been ejected from the deep aqua emotions. Romancing the stone, or in other words, romancing self. When air expands the fire, it's time for vacation or a few waterworks on break. Or the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords are inspiring the Divine Feminine to have her own thing, right? One's got their cup, one's got their sword. So what does the feminine want? What does she resonate with? A cup, a sword, a crystal, or a flame? Or to be the embodiment of the flame. The 619 is the lovers and the sun. The embodiment of the flame is the sun. So the 5D here in the middle row is the guidance, shadow, and the 6 of Cups. The guidance is like the Hierophant card, and the shadow is like the devil. And then the 6 of Cups, the two children loving each other. And the message I keep getting from the inner child is just keep focusing in on your inner child and allowing, hold them in your arms. They might want to crawl into your lap and just be with you. The Divine Feminine finds guidance in Sphinx and Buddha, Egypt and Atlantis, Gita, or Italian perhaps. The Divine Masculine inner children loving each other, all hugs and kisses, bridging by shadow work with the Queen of Cups on the bridges, or britches may be coming up. That word may be a message for someone. Reflecting heartfelt emotions. And so here the hugs and kisses were coming up, and later on in the read, the fact that it's the year of the ox in Chinese astrology this year, and ox is literally hugs and kisses. And it's also that really hard worker who's very kind and loving. And there's another message around that I'll get to in a minute. The 6D line is the 8 of Cups, the 5 of Wands, and karma. The Divine Feminine walking away, leaving everything organized and straight, emotional life aligned to go to the beach perhaps, or the desert, or Batman meeting you there. The Divine Masculine karma, opening their crown, plasma, drip, or trip, and lotus, which you notice is lot, us. But karmas, which you notice is car of Maz, and bridging with the 5 of Wands. The waves of the hot desert sun. So here the sun keeps coming up. Okay. The 6th flame, which was very interesting because my mail yesterday was to the 6th floor. The 6th flame or floor becomes the sun. Time for another to step up as lead flame. It's like someone being replaced at the top. And the 6 also is that Mary Magdalene energy, the energy of the blue rays, the 6th density, the 6th dimension, the lovers, love, family, and community, the Batman, rising sun, lotus, the batting cage at sunrise, lot us or lot US, you, Sophia, salty and serious and sulfury. The Divine Feminine, ignited to commitment with guidance, if he goes within. The Divine Masculine, the Queen of Swords is truth, is good for the children, and ending karma by 6D. The plasma ether. So then ether came up again about breaking down and plasma. All right, so we have karma, which is the mother's car, and then plasma, the mother's plas. So what is plas? And then ether, which we know that AE in ether is ash, and TH is to the nth degree, and ER is that urgency or emergency energy or fight or flight energy. The PLAS comes up as to crack, to burst, to break through, flash, flush, add, body or still water, pool or puddle, urine, to urinate, when, whack, down, mansion, palace, hall, Maz. So in other words, Maz, palace, ash, to the nth degree, urgently, to break through or flush Ma's ashes there, which is very interesting since I'm taking my parents' ashes out west together, or the final urgency, to urinate, a body of still water, the pool, the puddle, Ma's ashes, final resting place, around the bend, which is where I'm taking her to. Bridge here is the 4D Queen of Cups on the journey of love, facing the shadow on the 5D bridge to expand even further in the 6D heat wave. Remember, heat makes things rise, right? Sinking in a gentle pool of wine was coming up, and that's from Jesus Christ Superstar, if you're not familiar. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Where we're going, you don't need water, only waves of heat, which is that circular motion of energy, that heat wave. And I was getting my mother coming through making jokes about taking them out to west because they didn't signify where in their town they used to live they wanted to be, they wanted their ashes to be dispersed. So the message I was getting yesterday from my mom is that she wants her ashes in water. It can be urine, toilet water, pool, or puddle, in a body of still water which runs deep. All right, so there's a message there. And she's trying to inject some humor as well. And again, with them and with the message coming through, where we're going, water doesn't really matter. So really, where does it matter where my ashes go? It's all part of the oneness, right? So the outgoing divine masculine energy here is reason, the King of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, the rays of the reason, the ray sun, the master of synchronicities, the running water, and ants marching 2 by 2, and they all come marching home in the end to get out of the rain, all right, which is just summarizes what I just said. The Emperor lends a false hand to the King of Pentacles, Akashic Records, or the flame on loan, false flame, until the cows come home, which is the year of the ox, OX, kisses and hugs, which started Friday, February 12th, 2021, all ones and twos, the magician and the high priestess, the year of the ox. Very significant for the ox is 1 to 3 a.m. and the yang energy. And it's actually my year, the ox. I'm a metal ox for any of those of you who are interested. And what else was coming up here? Right. So for the union read here, at 6:55, which is the lovers and the truth, the ace of swords, the Excalibur, the sword and the stone energy, the year of home and union, of kisses and hugs. So the number that came out for this read in the grid of numbers was 44, and that's the mastery number. In the numerology book, the Divine Triangle, the 44 is the fourth of the 4 power numbers, 11, 22, 33, and 44. 11 being that very spiritual, visionary energy that wakens you. The 22 of the being of this world, right? Manifesting survival, and people who are really good at that, right? Really good at getting jobs, really just have no issues with fear in that sense. And then the 33 of the Christ vibration. And then the 44 of the mastery of the masters, the grounding, integrating, and allowing yourself to be loved as well as giving love to others. And allowing for the boredom and apathy, the uncomfortableness in your body, which is you grounding and integrating all the energies you've just been through, and Spirit's connecting with me, right? You need time to ingest what you've just like your body, once you eat, your body needs time to send it through your body. Well, it's the same thing with anything emotional or spiritual. Once it comes through your whichever body, it needs time to ground and integrate that and then get rid of what it doesn't need regarding what just came in. So that same energy coming up around 44. The horizontal lines came up 17, 6, and 21, which is the star, the lovers, and the 21 of the world, completion of the cycle, or perhaps seeing a bigger perspective of the world, or traveling around the world. The vertical pillars were coming up as 6, 7, 9, 5, 6, and the number 11, both ways adding up to 44. And the message were coming up as the star lovers, completing the cycle and traveling around the world with complete control over each aspect of their life, which is the energy around the 44 in the Divine Triangle numerology book. The lovers, the chariot, or the Knight of Pentacles, the hermit in their knowing and keeping it to themselves, justice, truth, and balance. Also the lover's pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, being in their knowing, keeping their energy pure, as well as justice, which is truth and balance. That's all it's about. Being in your knowing, trusting yourself, even when you think you're going crazy, and then the truth and balance of living your life, and always coming back to center point. The Divine Feminine had Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus energies on their side. The Divine Masculine had Aquarius and Aries on their side, and then the Capricorn was in the middle, as well as the Queen of Cups. So that would be for both of them or between them. And then we had there were no characters on the feminine side, of court cards anyway. And then on the masculine side was the Queen of Swords, the King of Pentacles, and perhaps children were in focus as well with the Six of Cups. So now we have the Twin Flame read in front of you. The SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut at 7:02, which is the day I met my twin, actually. 7 is Chariot and 2 is the High Priestess. And then at 7:20, which is that 7-2 again, the King of Pentacles was reversed. As I was putting the mini cards down as clarifiers, the King of Pentacles reversed landed on the man in the Tarot Sexual Magic card of the Six of Pentacles, which is like the all business relationship. And that was coming up as the masculine in that card, the King of Pentacles reversed, right? So the all business relationship, there's no love there. He's the King of Pentacles reversed. And then I was getting also here before, as I finished completing the read, the numbers 1, 2, 3 were coming up again. So which is the 3D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The first being the 3D, the 4D, and 5D. But I was also getting the 1, 2, 3 jump, but then it was showing an arrow to the number 10. So instead of counting to 10, like when you're impatient, count to 10, it's saying don't count to 10, count to 3 and jump to 10, which is that quantum leap. Have faith. So I finished clarifying here at 7:24. And by the way, 7 and 20, 20 is the judgment. 2 is the High Priestess, 20 is the judgment. And then 7:24 is the Chariot with the Queen of Wands. Again, the Queen of Wands comes up as the Omega, the end of the karma on a community level, which was what Spirit's been giving to me. That the 81 is the end of karma on a worldwide universal level, and the 24 is the end of karma on a more community or family level. So the read was complete at 7:24. And I don't know why I don't usually calculate how long the read took. It was from 7:02 to 24, which is 7:22, 22 minutes, which is the Fool, with the open heart taking a leap of faith. Oh, they want me to point out the fact that I just said that the 24 is the end of the cycle of Omega, right, of the Greek alphabet, and the end of karma on a community level. But you also notice in the Tarot that the Fool marks the beginning of the new cycle, which is 22, right? 21, or the world, is the end of the cycle. So it's showing me just like the numbers 1 through 9 are the main number cycle, 10, 11, 12 are the higher octaves, just like they do with signs in planets and things like that. That the 10, 11, 12 are the higher octaves of the cycle 1 through 9. Well, they're showing me the same thing here, that we finish on the world, but then the Fool, and then going into the King and Queen of Wands, right, because that's the twin flames, is the higher octave of the cycle. That's what they're telling me now. I haven't gotten that before. So the major arcana for this read, the Sun, again, coming up as the central card, the solar deity, the indigo, which in this card is the magician, but in a very young child energy, offering a big diamond, right? So we have the solar deity, which is actually reversed in the center of this read, right? When the Sun's reversed, it's a drain of energy. The Sun's almighty powerful, right? So there's always some good in that. But when the Sun's reversed, it means, you need some sunshine, you need vacation. Perhaps your kids or your pet or your Leo or your ego are out of control or going through ego death. Or you just miss your sunshine. It can be all of those energies where the Sun's present, but it's not at full power. We have the indigo, and then before the read was the Hanging Man. And after the read, the Wheel, or the Great Wheel, came up, which is destiny, and that was upright. So again, the Lovers was upright, but the Two of Cups here, so yesterday the Lovers and the Two of Cups were both upright with the destiny or Wheel upright as well. Today the Two of Cups is reversed, but the Lovers and the Wheel are upright. So we have and the Six of Cups were upright yesterday too, or the day before, and then in this read last night, the Six of Cups were reversed as well. But it's next to the Wheel of Fortune upright, so it's meant to happen this way. So just go with the flow. So if you had a falling out with someone, it was destined to happen. Like it had to happen for the trickle effect, for whatever repercussions that need to happen for someone to understand something or learn a lesson, right? So it's destined. So we have 4 swords, 2 cups, 2 wands, and 1 pentacle. The 4 swords is very heavy swords. So it can be intellectualizing, doing your taxes, or being in your head too much, feeling pain. We have the 2 cups, 2 wands, and the 1 pentacle. So very much around the swords, and the least around the pentacles, which is money and the things of day-to-day life, the manifestation end of things. We have the King of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. So a Knight and King of Swords, there could be some kind of play there. And then the Queen of Wands and the Page of Pentacles, which can be an opportunity or an invitation, as well as the good student energy. And then afterwards, we had the 9 of Cups, which isn't a court card, but it can be a person for sure. It comes up as the sovereignty emotionally, whereas the 9 of Pentacles is the manifestation sovereignty. The 9 of Cups comes up as the emotional sovereignty. The Queen of Pentacles also comes up there. As far as the numbers in this read, we had triple ones. So big energies with that new start. That's why the 1, 2, 3 jump is coming in. Because once you're in the 1, you're already in the new cycle. Your foot's already on the other side. We also had 10, 10, which is that very high vibration with a push into the 1, 1, 1. We also have 3, 3, and 5, 5 in a lesser sense. So it's really focused on the transition into the new beginning. The 1, 2, 3, which I just said was the Fool, the King and Queen of Wands, right? That's the start of the Tarot. We have the double 3s of the Christ vibration and the double 5s of the Truth, which both already came up in conversation today. So the other numbers were the code line, which is about teaching and learning and synchronicities today, and the number 4 coming from 1 and 3, which is the Magician, the Empress, and the Emperor, the Emperor. And speaking of roars, it was so funny. Right before I started, there was a girl I heard all the way down the street. She was talking really loud, so I thought she was with her friend talking. But she wasn't. She had her earbuds in, and she's making herself heard as she walked by my house going south. So there may be a message there for someone as well. So the other numbers here, 4221, which is the 42 of the 2 of Cups, the 21 of the World. Again, the triple ones, the double 3s, and the 10, 10 with that very high vibrational trill, 10, 10, 10, keep it high. The 55 of the Truth, the 13 of the Transition or Death card, the 310 of 0 backing up, the 31, which is expansion, conflict, games, competition, but also the pursuit of happiness. 35 of the Wounded Warrior, the 9 of Wands, the 1, 2, 3 jump, or the 1, 2, 3 of 3D, jumping out of 3D, right? 1, 2, 3 jump all the way to 10. The 12 of the Hanging Man, the 23 of the King of Wands, the 58 of the 4 of Swords, the connection in 5D, and meditation and all that energy. And then the 8, 9, 10 begin again and again and again. And 5, 10 also came up with 0 behind that 51, which is the King of Swords. And he's been like, between the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords, they've been coming up nonstop the past week or two. So the message around the code line is all about teaching and learning and synchronicities, and teaching and learning from your synchronicities. The egg was coming up here very significantly, which I just said I'm vegetarian, but I'm not vegan. So the egg coming up here, and also the phi of expanding and contracting. But when egg and phi came up, it was coming up as Sophie, which is Sophia. Acing the student of Sophia, right? The divine feminine, the serious feminine, right? Sirius B, the salt, the sulfur, the reunion and joy, aiding your energy, keeping it high, synchronicities, and teaching and learning. So the egg was also coming up as the unfertilized egg, right? So it's the state of all the potentials, right? It's not fertilized yet. The unfertilized egg, all along with voice and sound, with the potential of expanding and contracting, and acing the Sophia coming together with perhaps a younger maternal aunt. The farewell or adieu was coming up, as well as the water, chin, weed, father, island, good, eye, sight, and surrender. To yield, to teach and learn with synchronicities. religiously without rig, mountain range without urn, which I'm going to throw ashes, right? That's so weird. I didn't even notice that till now. So religiously doing something without it being rigged. And you notice the rig also references the mountain ranges, the mountain range without urn, the horrific eyeful, right? That sight to see without the Yule or the ability, the lid, the cap, or any. Right? There's no, without a cap or a lid, only that pure ability, the pure potentiality, the horrific eyeful, and what you can do with that. What can you do with the mountain range? What can you do with religiously doing something, but without the equipment? Just purely from your own synchronicities and your own inspiration. Acing the oneness, being the one student or seeker, perhaps with 3 sages coming together, right? The 3 of Cups energy of the 3 women, the wise women, not just 3 any women, the 3 wise women, the divine Sophia coming together to drive, to hurl. Oh, that was the dinosaurs episodes I brought up recently where you toss your grandmother or grandfather in the pit once they turn a certain age. It was called Hurling Day. So that word came up here. The 3 sages coming together to drive, to hurl, which is the spirit making a funny, or exacting without reference, or without ram, without forcing it. To do or make without forcing the issue. Teaching and learning through synchronicities. And then I was getting chin chin. Okay. So we have the King of Swords reversed. And the cheer, the chin chin is here's to you, here's to us. Always celebrating each other. The King of Swords is reversed as we start the read. I told you it was all about him and the King of Pentacles lately. And underneath the King of Swords here, with the mini cards on top, because I always do 5, I don't always do, but most of the time I do 5 cards down and 5 cards forward after the read, which becomes 21 cards altogether, which is the completion, the world, right? 21. So beneath the King of Swords, and there's some kind of issues as my voice went, had to do with the underlying energies and the energies going forward after the read. Underneath the King of Swords reversed here, as I'm losing my voice again, so this is where the issue is. The 3 of Swords upright, the 8 of Pentacles upright, the Hanging Man reversed, the 10 of Swords reversed, and the 5 of Pentacles reversed. As I was getting anxious there. There's some anxiousness there with the King of Swords. So those energies have to do with separation and heartbreak or heart issues. Again, so stress and feeling stress, fight or flight, on a regular basis can lead to issues because you're not breathing, you're not fully oxygenating your body. So working to align, awaken in ego or idea, where the worst is over, take a deep breath, of bliss or recovery with the King of Swords or of the King of Swords reversed. And the King of Wands standing up, fending off all others, now that the worst is over with the King of Swords reversed. Social distancing coming up and bad influences, third parties. But also gossip can come up here with that 3 of Cups energy. The sealed divine feminine breaking patterns and removing the mask or the facades, no longer performing or being the puppet for the King of Swords reversed, right? No longer being their muse. And that was right at 8 o'clock on the dot. I took a break there. So 2 zeros backing up 8, which is the source energy of zeros, the human embodying the source energy is the 0, and then the 8 is doing the dance in the balance between the masculine and the feminine. So it's like taking a break to ground and integrate right there. All the situation that happened between the King of Swords reversed, and there can be a work situation, there can be a Capricorn there, or a Pisces perhaps, and then we had the King of Wands coming up here as well. Now, it is possible that there could be some feminine energy here expressing in a king energy, right? It could be one masculine getting pissed off by a feminine who's at his level of mastery in their own right? Maybe a masculine is used to dominating because they think their way is always the right way, or they think they're much smarter than other people. And then having to go nose to nose with someone who may not be smart in the same way they are, but are smart in mastery in their own right. That everyone has that potential, and that no one person is better than the other. And it's kind of like teaching the lesson of humbling each other, to really appreciate each other's talents. The King of Wands standing up for themselves, fending off all others, taking the high ground. Now that the worst is over with the King of Swords reversed, with social distancing, bad influences, third parties, and sealed divine feminine, breaking patterns and removing the mask. No longer performing for the puppet, or being the puppet for the King of Swords reversed. And that can be at your job as well. It can be any situation, job, family, friends, lovers, whatever. Wherever someone always is the controller in the situation, right? Because nobody should be controlling another person. We all are working towards our own sovereignty. At 8:30, which is the dance, and then the Four of Wands. And realize that the reads that I do, I'm not predicting things for you for the future. I'm showing you what's going on the approximate current moment, what the energy is. How are you using your energy that you're in right now? Are you using the energy the way you're actually seeing you're using the energy, or do you need to tweak your perspective? Is there something that you need to shift within yourself? And this allows you to reflect to yourself, which is why I love doing personal readings with people, especially like with my daughter's friends will come by for reads sometimes. And I love the surprise when we start doing the cards that they realize that the issues they think they're dealing with right now aren't actually that at all. It's a whole different thing that's actually causing the angst in them. And just being able to recognize that from somebody else's perspective is sometimes means all the difference for you. Being able to reflect back to yourself from somebody else. So the King of Wands is standing up for themselves now that the worst is over, with the King of Swords reversed over third party, perhaps the divine feminine or Pisces energy, refusing to juggle or dance with or for the King of Swords reversed, or the King of Swords didn't like the act. Reaping rewards of the past, receiving great riches, and getting over loss and regret, guilt and shame. And I'm still feeling that angst in the pit of my stomach. Take a deep breath. Feeling the rumors, the spying and lying, the negative self-talk, the bad news, or the child with a mouth on them. In the aftermath of sudden events or epiphanies about the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, community, or legacy, or the world. Or someone didn't get the message, avoiding sudden changes, or after sudden events, or after a sudden epiphany about or with that Ten of Pentacles, right? Which is it's the dream family, right? The dream business, the dream community, or dream world. The foundation crumbling after bad news or no news, but a big family, a big business, or big institution or community. It's like on a lower level, the foundations are crumbling after bad news or no news, but then this same person seeing this big family, abundant business or institution still thriving, or an old man in an old age home and actually doing very well. Maybe they're worried about how they would fare. Or perhaps a parent doesn't have to be an old man, but that's the depiction in the card. So the King of Swords reversed, no longer affiliated with the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community. The horny devil coming up here, out watching, or Capricorn, Page of Pentacles, perhaps witnessing the Empress upright, right, the woman in her power, and the magician who's got the magic wand and all the tools out on the table, or glad they got their grandparents' genes and not the devil, or Capricorn energy coming up here. That could just be one perspective here. The Page of Pentacles is the good student, right? The one who is always doing things perfectly. The Empress perhaps likes ice cream or microphones, and the magician with their DNA wand and the tools on the table. The Page of Pentacles, and I'm feeling my voice going as I'm talking about the magician. The Page of Pentacles feeling lucky they have all that they do. So it's like a child after witnessing something, finding gratitude in something in their life, or seeing talents of adults around them and figuring out what their special talent is in the countryside perhaps, or choosing to live with the Empress or the Magi, all with confidence here, right? Like it doesn't matter what your choice is, it's all good. Also, this is someone seeing the people who display confidence and saying, oh, that feels good. I want to be like that. And the devil watching over them. So again, this is people making deals with the devil, right? The devil's always watching to see who they can pull onto their side, right? And of course, they want people in power that they can control. So that energy was coming up here. That even if you're even the most confident of people, whether it's the Page of Pentacles, the Empress, or the Magician, that the devil's always at their back, because that represents the shadow within themselves. Making deals with the devil. Deception, and beneath that, true love. This is a romance of a lifetime. Take a deep breath. The Emperor reversed here, released, which is no surprise. Or the Emperor can be out of control in two ways, either abusing their power or stepping down from power or going through ego death or not well or injured. But the Emperor reversed, released, which is no surprise or not shocked, sleeping with the enemy in a falling out from the past returning, and the Magician is now hangry. There's two magicians here. I don't know if you can see here, but we have the regular Magician in the Tarot. And then over here, we have the Tarot Sexual Magic Magician, which is the hangry or angry, hungry magician, right? He's ready to cut somebody. So after the past, falling out from the past, which may be returning now, and the Magician hangry, ready to cut something, the barmaid trophy on display, reaping rewards of sleazy sex perhaps, or a partner with a negative past or childhood, or a falling out with a best friend or lover or family or friend, and the Magician not to be made a fool. Too many cooks in the kitchen, or limbs everywhere, or feet that smell, or caught red-handed with lover from the past, drunk, with a mess on the floor. No more lovebirds here, or no more dessert, and all he sacrificed for her. All right, this is coming up as a masculine, very pissed off. Love partnership, which is number 26, which is the Page of Wands, that inspired energy. And beneath that, karmic completion, completing of the cycle of number 10, right? The shift, that it's time, it's just time, it's time to change. Over the loss and regret, the guilt and shame of the fallen angel, no longer patient or over it. And the trash is picking up right now. I think that was the recycling. Yeah. As I cough. All right, sorry, I'm sweating. All of a sudden, I'm sweating like crazy. That might have been the energy from the trash guys going by. Give me a second to breathe. So the love partnership of the 26, and beneath that, the karmic completion of destiny, the 10, a turn for the better. All right, the trash taken away. Over the loss, the regret, the guilt and shame of the fallen angel, no longer patient or over it and losing their temper. Or maybe getting over losing their temper. The King of Swords losing his mind with the Knight of Swords reversed holding their tongue. Or perhaps, you don't want a Knight and a King of Swords lashing out at each other because that's a big verbal, nasty war. But there's definitely this negative exchange coming up. Perhaps one holding their tongue, not expressing their true desires, the King of Pentacles reversed with financial issues, and the Queen of Swords reversed lashing out or accusing her of lying, erasing another sheep from the herd. Or the Queen of Swords reversed and the King of Pentacles reversed, breaking up the fight with the Knight of Swords and the King of Swords. And we have Virgo reversed and Cancer reversed here, or they may not be Virgo or Cancer sun, but may have Virgo or Cancer in their chart. This is also the energy of Virgo reversed, because Virgo is the perfectionist. I'm just getting now that the Virgo reversed has to do with what happens to a Virgo when they see their own imperfections, right? It's like the Virgo that's gone rogue. And then, there I'm coughing again. And then the Cancer, and someone may actually be dealing with Cancer issues. But also the Cancer is all about home and family, right? The crab in the shell, they like their home and security. So what happens when they don't have that, or they see their own shadow side? causing the disturbances of their home. So the mental issues coming up here, so not only dementia and Alzheimer's, but there's a whole range of things like schizophrenia and being bipolar, all of these different kinds of mental issues, or being accused of having mental issues, right? Because you're feeling like you're going out of your mind, or people are telling you you're out of your mind. That definitely may be coming up this week. And the deception and or cancer issues with the Queen of Swords reversed, the King of Swords reversed, and the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or the world, with a King and Queen of Swords, both reversed, not a great energy there, at 904, which is the Hermit and the Emperor. They're very different energies. The Hermit's very wise within. That can be a grandparent who's giving the Emperor advice as well, or a professional, or that could be that Virgo energy. And then we have the Emperor, who always wants to be in control, but they're reversed in this read. They're losing their control. And so is the Hermit. And it's like going into an old age home, right? Someone that you never would have sat next to before is now your buddy, right? At the old age home. The Hermit and the Emperor. I'm getting that kind of energy. So we have the King and Queen of Swords reversed, and the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or the world, the abundant entity, inspired. And then the evil magician is hangry when they don't get their way, right? So the magician, who's, normally everyone loves the magician, right? They put on a great show. But what happens to that same magician when their shadow side comes out and they become the hangry magician? Showing their dark side, okay? And that's definitely the theme this week. So at 905 is the Hermit and the Hierophant now, bringing another player in, with the King and Queen of Swords reversed, lashing out in front of extended family, or in front of the business, in front of the community or the world, or airing dirty laundry, right? That's again, the programming, airing your dirty laundry. So you're not allowed to be honest. You're only allowed to be honest with your family. You're not allowed to be honest with other people. There's that kind of energy. Again, we're programmed to keep it all clean and tidy, to not be authentic to who you are, to manifest love partnership. In order to have a good partnership, you have to have the sham fam, right? It has to look perfect on the outside, even if you're having issues underneath. And Aquarius reversed, Cancer upright, and Capricorn reversed are all coming up here in this section. The the Page of Wands is over it, no longer patient or losing their temper, but inspired and being upright here. In the recent past is the Ten of Cups reversed, the ending of an emotional cycle, or a family that's unhappy, or the cycle is just so over, like it should have ended already, and it's still lingering here. The unhappy family with the Queen of Cups upright, depressed, or new information or clarity comes through, knocking them off balance, receiving an offer of love perhaps from Cancer, Queen of Pentacles, who's reaping rewards or traveling together, and the King of Swords reversed in a losing battle, releasing the prisoner from their sentence, or perhaps allowing someone to go enjoy themselves, awake to separation, cruelty, or after air signs butt heads. The Queen of Swords comes up upright, is fine, but the King of Swords is not. In the foundation is the Ace of Wands reversed, the King of Swords frustrated, angry, moving to peace, rest, break, or vacation. Or perhaps the Queens are doing that, and that's why he's reversed and pissed, because he doesn't get a break. The Queen of Wands on guard, holding back an announcement of disconnection, not seeing eye to eye, and needing space between them, or at a distance, not seeing each other face to face, perhaps missing someone and wanting them to be closer, or just taking a break. Aquarius reversed here. The central energy here, and as I said, central energy, my guys were showing me the date was 4-7 yesterday, which is the 4 to 7, right? The sweet spot in the middle of the numbers, right? Just airing to the light side, or to the alkaline side, to the side of, to be in perfect balance is to be off towards one side or the other, right? Because you're never at that perfect spot. So sometimes you might go a little bit below the 5, but you want to air to the 6 or 7 as opposed to the 4. So the central energy with the solar deity being reversed, it's showing us that we're in the 4 energy, which we don't usually get down to the 4. but we need to, we're in the bottom of the energy ring where we go back a little bit and then move up again. So feeling drained or no energy, just know it's part of the energy loop, like the retrograde, then igniting you forward afterwards. It's the propulsion or the umph, building up momentum behind you so that you can go forward again. So feeling drained, feeling like there's no energy, dealing with kids or Leo or egos or pets out of control at night, and the Page of Wands inspired by the contrast under the radar. Like, so maybe they're not supposed to, this could be a child like observing something that maybe isn't funny or nice, but they're inspired by it because they see the contrast here. They're understanding something that they may not have understood before otherwise. The Sun reversed, the Moon upright, the Leo reversed, and the Cancer upright. And again, this is about allowing children, and this has to do with airing dirty laundry. Because the dirty laundry was aired, which normally wouldn't have been, now the child understands something which the parents were then trying to protect them from. But actually ends up being a good thing, right? Showing the people why they need to be authentic to themselves and not hide the truth, even from the children. It's all natural, right? Families should grow up authentically with all of their issues and exposing it to everyone in the family. There shouldn't be a need for secrets. The secrets are what cause the pain and the problems. Because humans think they can control the situation, which is never the truth. The universe controls things. So ego death or being out of control. The challenge being the Three of Cups reversed, getting it's the Three of Cups reversed is like not only the bad influences, the third party situations, the gossip, the overindulgers. It's the no joy. It's the gathering that came together and didn't work out. The bad guy perhaps showed their true colors or just showed their shadow side, which they always tried to keep under wraps. It doesn't mean they're the bad guy because everybody has a shadow side. But when you hold back your shadow side for many, many years, well, what happens? Well, exponentially, instead of the plus sign, instead of the plus sign, it becomes the exponential, the X, the times. So going from the plus sign to the times sign, which is good, right? Because when you have a bad thing plus a bad thing, you just have a bigger bad thing, right? But if you have a bad thing times the bad thing, it becomes the positive. It gets resolved. Do you understand the message there? The challenge being the bad influences, the overindulgers, the social distancing or bad influences, recovering and standing up for oneself, taking the high ground, seeing synchronicities and options, or being accused of seeing things or being crazy. The Knight of Cups, jealousy, moodiness, schmoozing others, or feeling rejected. They all play around the same energies. And the arrogant player falling short. Or is that someone just falling short on energy now, getting older and not being able to function the way they used to because they're not as young anymore, they're not as agile anymore, or maybe they're just changing and they don't want to do that anymore. The liar, cheater, thief energy, or the runner is perhaps running from love or running away or stealing from a child. The King of Pentacles, and this could be a child trying to offer love, and here's someone running away from them. The King of Pentacles reversed, dumping a load, their burdens, responsibilities, perhaps in a split, or confessing to a lie and BS. The King of Pentacles reversed in an all-business partnership, dealing with death, dark night of the soul, endings, and transition. The Grim Reaper, right? One who reaps, but does it in a grim way. The manly woman or womanly man, the cross-dresser or trans. The receiving of a love offer from the Page of Cups, unable to express their feelings fully because they're a page, they're young, they don't know how to express fully with their words or their emotions yet. Or maybe they've been taught that they're annoying, right? Stop pushing your love on me, go away. Telling a child who's pure of heart that their love isn't worth having. And it really has to do with the other person's issues, them not feeling worthy of love, but the child doesn't understand that. So over time, having this done to them over and over again then taints the child's perspective. Or unable to get them to listen, right? The Page of Cups is that innocent heart, whether it's a child or an adult or a loving message, the other person's running away from them. So in order to get someone to listen, what happens? Well, then that child starts getting louder and louder, or softer and softer till you can't hear them at all. But either which way, they were balanced, and now you've caused them to become unbalanced. Needing to get your wish, it's like this child unable to get them to listen, but getting their wish anyway, right? Even if someone's, and this is what we're learning to do now. So instead of the old template, or becoming diminished and quiet or muzzled altogether, or becoming loud and obnoxious just to get attention from your parents, we're learning to stay ourselves no matter what, that their response to us wasn't our issue, it's their wound. We need to just get our wish, which is happiness with self-satisfaction, with no arousal, no humor, or able to understand, an inability to understand or conceive of something, to just let the situation go and perhaps come back to it just at another time. That you're unable to navigate that right now, and being able to recognize that in yourself. To step away from a situation that's too triggering and will serve no one, by, having a knockdown, drag-out fight. When you're unable to find arousal or humor, or unable to understand or conceive of a present romantic tie in the Knight of Cups reversed, or rejection with the Knight of Swords rushing in with the truth, finding peace in that truth, away from a lover, or with divine lover's guidance at their back. So maybe someone's seeing someone, or even the twins, as finding peace without their lover, not realizing that the lover is always with them, guiding them. People outside them can't understand that. So now is the Queen of Wands upright in energetic exchange with the Wounded Warrior in surrender. And you notice the EE and the WW there of the energetic exchange and the Wounded Warrior, which is that same letter of E. Being knocked over is a W. And knocked over the other way is an M. And turned the other way is a number 3. So we've talked about that before. So the energetic exchange with the Wounded Warrior. So this is the square where it's facing the right, or the east. And the Wounded Warrior then is feeling down, right? They're knocked over like on their back. So it's kind of like going south in surrender. Reaping rewards of the devil, or the shadow side, or Capricorn, perhaps waving temptation. And the Page of Cups reversed, now vulnerable child. This also could be talking about the devil and the children, because we have the devil and the Page of Cups reversed. And this is the devil's use of the children, the abuse in the tunnels. And then this has been going on for a long time, and any kind of conversation regarding that might be triggering, very triggering for people around you, which I experienced that this week for sure. The devil and the Page of Cups, right? Talking about adrenochrome and talking about luciferase and all that kind of stuff may be very triggering for people. Having to do with the vulnerable child and the aborted fetal cells talked about being in treatments used. And the Queen of Swords says, I'm losing my voice, right? Because people don't want to speak about it because it's too hard for them to hear. They don't want to believe that it's true. And the Queen of Swords speaking of death and the dark night of the soul. And this is not to get people upset. It's to bring the truth out in the open so the dark can be taken out of the situation. The devil abusing the innocent children and women coming up here at 9:33. So then, of course, because we're talking about saving the women and children, the masculine energy then goes on defensive, because then you're becoming accusatory that he's at fault, right? Because he's associated with other masculines. So the Capricorn upright and the Scorpio upright and the fiery Capricorn at play right here, with the 9:33 being the Hermit and the Christ consciousness of Christ, walking the earth and just being love, whether it's being with the leper or being with the murderer in prison or being with the kind, loving grandmother, that it's all love, right? To just be love no matter what, to have compassion. You don't have to hang around with people that trigger you and don't make you feel good. Quite to the contrary. You don't need to stay with people who make you uncomfortable in your life. What's the point of that? Because then you're just going to feel badly and then radiate that energy out. You want to be surrounded by only the best energy that makes you feel loved. But you can still have compassion, and when you bump into those energies, you can still show compassion for them, even though you may then leave the field so that you don't have to feel that energy anymore. So again, the who protests too much, right? The masculine feeling guilty, the guilt and shame wound that's coming up in the masculine. If you bring up those energies about, horrific things, which came up in the code line today, seeing the horrific things, being able to navigate that without falling prey to it. The Two of Cups lovers don't see eye to eye, perhaps about death and transitioning, maybe have different religious belief systems on what happens on the other side. Awakening to the Hermit reversed, the Capricorn reversed, and the Virgo reversed, in negative self-talk, present to risky business, close but distant, or at a distance and yet close. Imbalanced codependent relationship, needing courage to get off the fence. And this could be people on the fence, whether they're going to stay in a relationship or leave a relationship or get into a new relationship. It's someone who's been sitting on the fence for a long time. The masculine in their guilt and shame, trying to sit on the fence between family and love, always taking the side of the family or the country or the world over the one-on-one relationship, which is their own relationship with their higher self, right? Not loving themselves first. And again, divorce without option, and that came up in a movie this week, that divorce is not an option. Leo reversed, Taurus reversed, confessing only after caught or not wanting to get caught. The Ten of Cups reversed, thrown out. So the Ten of Cups reversed it's like in the card, literally, it's someone being thrown out when it's upright. So when the Ten of Cups reversed is thrown out, it's like exponential there. And dealing with cancer, that can be a person or the disease, or the tropics of Cancer, which is coming up as well, or at night, right? Because that's when the sun goes down. There's more darkness. The light isn't being completely seen, right? The shadows come out at night. The grounding and integrating of what was said, suffering in silence and walking away in separation from the Ten of Cups reversed unhappy family, or family cycle or emotional cycle that's so overdone. Like, why is it still being focused on, right? It's already done. Let it go. And soon here being the Knight of Swords reversed, the issues at work with release from imprisonment, anxiety, the player falling short or running out of energy. Recovering with lover, or the Knight of Swords reversed, Gemini losing the fight, with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, stubborn and refusing to budge, unable to function as third party or bad influences or overindulgers around, or just no joy, no social life. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Page of Pentacles, students and dream families. Frustrated sovereign, letting go to fix with the King of Cups, unconditional love. Free from the Emperor reversed, abuser, with justice on their side. Aries upright, Aries reversed, and Libra upright here. So very much that spoke on the wheel of Libra and Aries, the two sides of the same coin. Making an effort, and you deserve love and new love. All came up for the twins. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Around the twins are how they're seen as the indigo, the child, upright, offering this big diamond, having a big offering of diamond light perhaps, and the High Priestess or secret union of the home, the great riches or the withholding or saving for preparing for a new life. At 9:48, the Hermit and the walking away, the Eight of Cups, again, walking away and within, destined to face your past. The block here being the Two of Swords reversed, the clarity, which knocks you off balance, of the Knight of Swords rushing in, speaking about imbalances in order to end the conflict, right? To bring them to the surface so they're no longer hidden, to bring the light to the dark so that the dark can be done away with, to bring that consciousness to a higher place. And we have Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Libra here. Synchronicities, teaching and learning, but even more so here, environment, a green environment. The Knight of Pentacles reversed, unable to function, or being stubborn, or disabled, or on strike, or being lazy, or seen as that way. with the King of Swords reversed, Gemini around. So you have the Knight of Pentacles reversed, and that can be like a parent and their child, the parent calling the child lazy, and the King of Swords reversed, that could definitely be Gemini. And the Knight of Pentacles reversed, unable to function around this energy because it's a very explosive energy, the King of Swords reversed. That can be someone who's verbally abusive, or someone who's lying all the time, or someone who's just very ungrounded, or in their own negative self-talk, which ends up being all of those things I just stated. The Ace of Swords reversed is the lie, the split, the divide, the BS, the need for clarity, the subconscious jealousy and triggers by the truth of the Knight of Swords with Lover backing them up, and that's referencing the twin and their higher self. Or the Knight of Swords getting away from Gemini. Or it could be vice versa as well. But there's a divide here after a sudden event or epiphany about the Knight of Pentacles reversed, feeling paralyzed, unable to function. Destined, grounding, and integrating, and suffering in silence, right? So this is what happens to a child in an abusive home. They become paralyzed, right? They are unable to ground and integrate because there's no peace. So if you never ground and integrate all the energy you're expanding into, you become paralyzed. And that's a fear template. Grounding and integrating, suffering in silence, and walking away in separation of unhappy family, right? In order for the children to heal. Getting their wish of the frog to prince, expanding from frog to prince, and the Queen of Pentacles upright, offering love to the working man, or putting all her love into her work at 9:57, which is the Hermit, and the Three of Swords, the separation, the heartbreak, or heart issues, or disappointments. The King of Swords reversed, pissed perhaps at the twins, or the Page of Pentacles indigo, ending an emotional cycle, drained and unhappy, and challenged by no joy, and the Knight of Swords upright, sending 5D messages to give clarity to the Queen of Wands in a split, destined to get their wish, the Juggler stretching, growing, and the Queen of Pentacles putting their love into their work, and the creative man who aligns with that. The underlying energy is the Ten of Pentacles upright, so that dream family, right? It's the end of the Tarot, 78. 78 is a combination of the 7 and the 8, the calm before the storm and the storm. Being able to integrate both, right? The peace and the dance. The going out of yourself and the coming back to 0 point within yourself, the balance. And then going forward after this read was the Devil, the temptation, the Capricorn Queen of Pentacles, who's upright, in a split with the Page of Wands, who's inspired to let go and fix things or make amends, with the Empress upright, in surrender, with the Knight of Wands reversed, falling short and dumping a load at night on the Queen of Swords upright at 10:01, which is a turn for the better, and the Magician, or that brand new start. And I watched Deliver Us from Eva last night, which is funny because it's kind of a play on my name. Many years ago, like probably 30 or 40 years ago when I was very young, when I started seeing someone, their ex-girlfriend was calling me Evelyn, even though they were broken up before we started dating. She just had issues, obviously. But it's that play on my name, Deliver Us from Eva, right? Because deliver us from evil. And that has to do with Eve in the Garden of Eden. Right? The feminine going out and having to become like a man to survive in the world. And then finding out how to become soft again. When they become this is the end of the read too, right? So when the feminine puts all her love into her work that she truly loves, then she also puts her love into the man who aligns with what she does and who she is, right? The right man, because she's now the right her. Okay. And that references work too, just being on the right with the masculine energy. Again, because the work, if you do the work that you love, it's never work. It's only what you love to do, and then you can show your feminine side within that work and be creative and loving and kind. And it was interesting, when I stopped watching that movie last night, the time was on 1:41:41. which is all about the 14 of 41, the light to dark, and the 14 of the temperance, being patient and balanced, and the angels and the higher love, and then the 41 of the Ace of Cups, the self-love, spiritual love, and new love. And then now I'm getting the ants. Ants come marching 2 by 2, right? So the ants come marching home, coming up again as the 2 by 2 of the twins, right? Dark to light is the shadow of both. You both have the dark and the light. It's coming up as the twins marching 14 and 41 together, which is the in their both becoming the 14s in their higher love. But there's always that other aspect of self-love. It's like integrating. There's neither one is the 41 and 14 in itself. Neither one of them is dark or light. They both can have their dark and light side. And you notice it's the 4 and the 1, which is the Emperor and the Magician, which is having control over every aspect of your life, but not actually having control over what you do, right? You're in the flow. You're creating from your higher self. I mean, that's the ultimate place, to be in that 0 point on a perpetual basis, to be able to create from a love place always and make beautiful things. So the Emperor has to do with, it only has to do with really controlling your thoughts, right? You can't control the energy flow. You can only control if you have negative or positive thoughts. And then the 1 is the Magician embodiment of source energy. So when you let the Emperor lead the way, this is why they come up using 41 as the dark energy. Because even though it's the Ace of Cups, it's really not dark. It can be self-love. But the 4, when the Emperor leads the way, then things can go towards the dark side, because Emperor has to do with controlling other people and controlling energy. Whereas the 1 is the Magician, of allowing that source energy to come through you, embodying that source energy. So the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords, both reversed, have recovered, but not the King of Swords reversed. So this is just like a summary of the energies that were coming up in the read. The only ace that was upright in this read was the Ace of Cups, the love, which is why they wanted me to talk about the 14 and the 41. Nothing wrong with 41, unless you let your thoughts, your negative thoughts, lead the way. The pages were all upright except for the Page of Swords, right? The negative self-talk. Again, the mental thoughts that need to be controlled. The King of Swords reversed, ending an emotional cycle with the Queen of Swords reversed and the 10 of Pentacles family. So there may be an abundant family, and this may be a codependent relationship in which there was a lot of money involved, but neither one of them are happy, or neither one of them are loving each other, but they're staying because they were comfortable in the money. Or the abundance. This can be status as well. It doesn't have to just be money. So we have the Ace of Wands reversed, the Queen of Wands. There's frustration and anger here, and ego out of control. The challenge being no joy, right? So if you're stable in your life financially, but you're unhappy because you're with someone you don't love, and then that trickles down to your children because they can feel your energy whether you pretend or not. So now you're trickling down no joy to everyone in the house. So the challenge being no joy. And the Queen of Wands is upright, and the Page of Pentacles is upright, and the Knight of Swords is upright. So why is the King of, it's like the King of Swords realizing this. They're all finding happiness within themselves, so why am I unhappy and pissed off? And the Indigo proposing clarity and new information in a split, a divide, a lie, with the Queen of Wands upright, destined to get their wish with the Five of Swords, right? The one who's at war, juggling with their own truth, while the Queen of Pentacles gives love as her work. The King of Swords, there also energy, because the sun is reversed in the middle, there can be energy of sundowning. That can be parents or grandparents who may be, losing their mental abilities, feeling drained, unhappy, or unhappy to find humor, not wanting to be aroused, no joy in the relationship. And that can revolve around depression and arrogance because they're both on the same coin there. While children of the new world here, with new information, that if the Queen of Wands is a liar, then so are they, is coming up here at the end. So this is like children awakening to the light and siding with the light, even where before they may have been intimidated into believing in the dark, right? Selling your soul to the devil, so to speak. So Libra and Gemini are divided here. Only the Knight of Swords is upright. The other three knights are reversed. Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups, Knight of Pentacles are all reversed. The Knight of Swords, or the Messenger of Truth, is the only knight that's upright, so that's very telling in the read. All right, so let's pull some oracle cards here for you guys from the energy deck. It's 11:13. So Justice, which is truth and balance, and then 13 of the transition, the end, the dark night, the death. And then 11046 here, which is the 1 of the Magician, the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, and the 46 of the inner children loving each other, the outer children loving each other, embracing each other. And that was the first thing I said when starting the read today. If you go and focus in on your inner child, just hold each other. All right, so for everybody watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned, what do we need to know and learn? And let's see what comes up from the energy deck here. Take a deep breath. All right, envy. So there's that judgment here for sure. There's that negative energy. This can be a dark mother energy, and it can be being reflected now in the son of the dark mother. Right? The son of the dark mother. The son is reversed. The King of Swords reversed. The unhappy man who's lashing out at others because that was the lesson he was taught of being judgmental from the mother, the dark mother here. And it can just, doesn't have to be the mother. It can be dark energy around you in any kind of sense, right? It can be watching the movie, and the Wicked Witch of the West. And then we have the 44 of the mastering, grounding, integrating of love. And you see the contrast there. There's a woman holding a heart, even when being judged. And this then allows, again, this is the energy around the children around them, then being able to choose their own perspective based on what they're seeing, the polarities here. What do they want for their life? And then here's the world. And stepping back and being present in the moment to take a look at the bigger picture, right? Get a bigger perspective that this is just one relationship. But think about that there's how many, billions of relationships, millions or billions of relationships are going on just like that in the world. And bringing in this negative energy or the positive energy, it's all your choice. It's all your choice. There's the child navigating the bridge. The 2 of the High Priestess, the secret, the psychic abilities. And all of our children, all of us have the abilities, but especially the new children coming up with, already programmed with a higher vibration from the blueprint of their own DNA. The journey of the rainbow bridge and enjoying the view as you navigate. That's the grounding, integrating, being still to ground and integrate, to navigate the colors of the rainbow and how beautiful they all are together in contrast. Right? If you just had one color, it's not very exciting. But when you have the contrast of 2 colors, it becomes, wow, it becomes so interesting and beautiful. Enjoying all of the colors of the rainbow without a word. In the middle of the woods, on the bridge by yourself, on a suspension bridge, feeling the ebb and flow. And underneath that, being away from the community of gossipers, the 7 of the Chariot, which may be broken at the moment. And finding your own way. You can go your own way, and then we get back to where you started from. So both of those energies coming up. Let's see what the journey of love has to say today. So again, when you're on the journey in the middle of the bridge, suspended in the middle of nowhere, right? Animated suspension. This is actually what's coming up. When you feel When you feel like you've been exiled from the group, that you don't belong anywhere because they're being all snotty and mean, that like they're better than you are you going to let that change who you are or allow you to be unhappy? You don't have to talk at all to be happy when you find happiness within yourself. And then showing yourself that the contrast between the dark and the light, and that we are all one in the moment at 0 point. So, the journey of love. It's also the contrast, right? Because there's so much focus on the King of Swords reversed here. The contrast between the partner and the mother, or even the daughter and the mother, right? The light and the dark. And even them being between those two energies, being able to see the difference. And what do they want in their life? Let's see the journey. What is our takeaway from this read today? Take a deep breath, you guys. I actually want to give you some more. That feel better? Yeah. The communal dance. How can we all get along? The 5 of the Hierophant, expanding and contracting, freedom, change, allowing each person to be themselves. You see the egg in the middle? The cosmic egg of the child, right? Everyone always circles around when the new child is born, the miracle. So why can't we see that every day? And there we go again. Within nothing, this came up yesterday too, within nothing there's everything. And you notice, look, the 5 and the 2 is the 52-7, which came up in the union read, the Divine Masculine and the Queen of Swords. First came up the number 7 they were focused on, and then the Queen of Swords was actually the card in the 4D for the Divine Masculine, and she is the 52-7, the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords energy being the 5 of the Hierophant, the community, the social norms, which doesn't have to be a bad thing if everyone lets each other be their true selves. So we have the combination of the Hierophant and the Empress, not the Empress, the High Priestess, right? They're both spiritual leaders, just with different perspectives. One of the community, right, the traditional religion, and one of the inner self, the inner child, the connection with Source. You notice it's the 0, which is human embodiment of Source, the child. Being with your inner child. So I was just talking about that. Just sit and hold each other. By holding your inner child, you're holding the entire collective, right? Because that's your higher self, the group consciousness. So if you go outside yourself to the community, where everyone's singing and dancing together, but next to them is another card just like this one, singing and dancing a different belief. Okay, and so there may be communities coming together, right? And again, there's that energy of separation, but in order to come together as one, we need to at least be able to coexist with our differing beliefs, but not condemning each other for believing something different than the other, right? That's where all the fights and wars come over. Ownership and belief systems, and what other people believe, being forced to believe what the community believes. Or are you just allowing people to naturally fall into the groups that they resonate with, and then both of those groups being able to live side by side in harmony? Realizing that when a child is born, they're not born really into either group. They may believe something totally different than both groups. So what difference does it make? Are you going to judge that child because they were born into a different religion? Why do you do that? So that's the energy very much coming up here. I'm getting to the shape. See how the egg is vertical here, and here it's like more horizontal. They're like showing me the egg falling off, falling out, falling from the tree, rolling. And it's not perfectly round, it's oval, right? Weebles wobble and they don't fall down. I mean, if you have a ball, it's going to keep rolling. But if it's an egg or an oval, it wobbles. It doesn't just keep rolling. You know, it's like a child learning to walk. They have to wobble to figure it out. They don't just keep rolling and rolling and rolling like a ball would. We're human. And we can falter. And we can become imbalanced. And there's where we need that time for integration. So then the reason they're coming to this, the integration is the 5-2 becomes the 7. The 7 is the quiet within, the time for quiet contemplation. Quiet time. And these are the next two cards. The Queen of Pentacles of coming together within the heart space. The blood pumping within the heart. And I always get hit the presses with this as well. Come together right now over me. So here's the two factions, the two communities, and the space between. The blending of two, whether it's two people, two communities, two worlds. There always needs to be a 0 point here. This is the 0 point field of coming together. A resonation. To see the hidden beauty in another. The 45 of the grief. The hidden beauty in the silence, in the you within, the connection with your higher self, the beauty in that. Sometimes there just needs to be simplicity. The bottom of the deck is her grace. And this is my mother making it funny again. She's Mary Grace. 17 is the star, her grace. Oh, so smooth and elegant. And this is those higher energies of the purples and indigos and blues and whites. Of being more peaceful. Her grace, 17 is the star, is dreams coming true. That beautiful energy of that higher love, that being in the temple of God, right? Of source, of creator. At the 11th hour, the 59 is the war within, because it's the moment before the clock strikes 12, right? The anticipation from Rocky Horror. The anticipation of facing God or source or creator. Be the star that you are, that is you. All right, let's see what the communal dance wants to tell us today. All right, there's a little bit of stress for sure here. Lover, you have been alone too long. Your community calls you to surrender your isolation for this moment in time. Instead, join the cosmic conga line. Do you know how special you are? So much so that this community would not be the same without you. Your individuality and uniqueness can only enhance this group of souls that calls you to dance with them. Men and women, human and spirit, heaven and earth, your community is vast and rich and has much to share with you. Be lifted in celebration of belonging. Recognize that you are a part of something great. Can your heart grow warm with recognition that you belong? You are meant to be a part of this great dance of love awakening on the earth. Your heart is already beating to the rhythm of music. This oracle brings you guidance. You're being drawn into new community that is more aligned with your innate spiritual vibration. You'll feel more at home there and be able to share your gifts and talents more freely and with greater support. Let go of relationships or situations that you've been holding on to out of fear. If they are meant to continue with you, they will remain. If not, they will fall away, creating space for new connections to come into your life now. This is not a time to hide in what you have known, but to be open to playful connection with kindred spirits soon to be met. And the poem reads, when I stood in front of you, I knew something was in store. I could feel the excitement of our journey ahead, for I had been that way before. Each person comes into our life with lessons we may see, and in the reflection of that other self is the person we can be. I made a note before about this page being 23, which is the King of Wands, that it led to page 23, and I'm going to tell you the date I wrote because that may be significant to someone. It was January 23rd, 2017. January 23, the King of Wands, 2017, and again the star just came up, and the King of Wands. So I'm going to read you Within Nothing There's Everything as well, which is number 2. Since I'm already at 125.17. All right, within nothing, there's everything. It's short. From a point of stillness, a moment, a complete universe is opening up to you, endlessly expanding. Your every thought and intention sends ripples of consciousness through the universe. What a creative being you are. You are sending consciousness into motion, bringing your creation into being, with every inner desire, with every whispered wish. The universe receives your yearning and aspirations with open arms, returning them to you as manifestation in your life. What is really in your heart? Open your arms, sigh, and speak your heart truth aloud to the loving universe and receive it as your destiny manifesting now. And I want to break here just for a second because it's so important sometimes to say things out loud, because as I do my messages, if I had done this all in my mind without speaking it out loud, I wouldn't get half the messages I get. So speaking out loud is a very important in the journey of getting your messages. This can be just speaking to yourself. This oracle brings a message to you. Something that you want is on its way to you. It may seem to be coming out of nowhere, no sign on the horizon to give you hope, yet it is coming to you anyway. It's spiritual law that you cannot be denied the manifestation of your heart's desire. Trust and remain open to the tide of universal love rushing toward you, swelling within you now. The wind moves gently through trees, quiet water flows, life's song calls softly. And there's like that girl on the suspension bridge going across to the woods on her journey. The quiet beauty, the quiet within. Okay, guys, make sure to drink your water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature, do whatever you want or you feel inspired to do. Okay, love you guys. Rise and be love. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing journey today. Bye.